So we have Oxygen in their second game of the day against Mirage in their only matchup of the day. OXG, there is one guy that we really wanted to highlight because we've been harping on him a little bit over the past couple of play days, but he did really, really well in that opening game so far, and that was Dream.
Yeah, I mean, when talking to Dream in the beginning of this stage, he said he really wanted to do more, get his team in position, set them up better. And, you know, the first couple games he hasn't been performing at that best, but this game stuck out the most to me, where even Fish made a reference that Dream called something out mid-round. They made the adaptation. They ended up closing out the round. It's good to see that Dream is still actively trying to better himself with the team.
Yeah, and we're starting to see some more moments as well. I remember back last week on Cafe, there were some great moments where he was on Echo, providing some great intel for the team, on Maestro as well. That's the classic Dream. But I think we've also seen moments where Dream, I remember the Nighthaven Labs, there was one round there on attack. He comes up, fumbles a gunfight he really shouldn't be. And we're in an era right now where everybody in your team needs to be able to hold their own individually. I think we're seeing that more from Dream so far today, but it's definitely going to be nice if we can see that a little bit more consistently going forward as well.
So if he keeps that performance up, OXG are absolutely going to be better for it, even though he's a support player. You don't always want to keep on funneling him into the he does not need to perform statistically well category because, like you said, stats don't always tell the full story. On the opposite side, for Mirage, I'm going to talk about a guy who we typically haven't talked about since his departure from Sonics, but he's always really held down the fort, always been super consistent, super solid. We've got to talk about Kansan real quick.
Can I make a controversial statement here? I think Kansan was the MVP of the league in week one. Now, I think that he played so darn well for Mirage, and I don't think that Mirage would have had anywhere near as close of games as they did without Kansan. Let's go through the matches that they played. To start off, he goes early 3K in their very first round of their very first match, the main reason why that match against DZ was so close. The next game, he goes crazy with the C4s against LG, finding 2 big kills in round 14 when they were down 7-6. Then the next game, he was the reason for half of all rounds that Mirage won versus Wildcard. They only won 4 rounds, but the 2 rounds that he went big in, it was a great droning, planting, fragging round in round number 5, and then round number 9, he drops a 4K. I think Kansan has single-handedly contributed more to Mirage than any other individual has to their specific team. And for me, I think he's got to be a highlight player that you focus on because he's done so much compared to everybody else on Mirage.
Simp. Actual MRG.
I'm a Kansan fan.
Simp. Unbelievable. Let's check map vetoes real quick just because that's happening really, really quickly. We're heading to Skyscraper for the first time so far this stage in the NAL.
I keep missing with this. I predicted the Clubhouse. It's the next one banned out.
It's so close.
Tough one. Skyscraper.
That, I know Oxygen isn't the best at it. I don't really know with this new Mirage team what they're going to be on it. I think it does open a little bit of avenues of the play style to be a little opened up on Skyscraper. But still, this is a toss-up for me for both teams.
I will say they played each other on Skyscraper during the Game Rogue playoffs, and OXG won that matchup. So a little bit of history there, but obviously the rematch doesn't always go the same way.
And playing in a Tier 3 tournament by comparison to playing in the NAL, much different stakes, much different level of investment. Sure, it's nice to have at least a little bit of something there to look back on, but you also want the guys on Mirage to not have a repeat, because I do believe OXG won that map. So,
they did, yeah.
Yeah. Before we jump into Skyscraper, real fast, we do got to go because everyone's already in here. Don't give me any other rationale. Just tell me the team you think is going to win. Lax.
I'm just going to say Mirage. For the sake of just saying Mirage, I want to see them come out on top, get a solid dub, get a solid 3 points for them. So Mirage.
Jesse?
No, Oxygen Esports.
All right, man. Like,
he's over here saying Oxygen.
I'll just say this
because
right
he doesn't want to root for never.
I'll say this right now. So far, I'm up on points in terms of who we've picked of who's going to win. So I'm just taking a gamble.
I mean, I'm not saying we're keeping score, but I'm also saying at the moment we are, in fact, not keeping score. Let's go ahead and jump into this bad boy. Map 5 of Playday 3. It's Parky and Pengy on the cast.
Well, thank you very much. We go to Japan, to Skyscraper. Mirage versus Oxygen. Oxygen only making a minor change. Sweater off the roster. Picking up Fish. As for Mirage, new look of the team, new look of the coaching staff. You said last week that they had the EU buff by bringing in Meepy. I disagreed because the UK is not part of EU, but we don't need to get into that again.
Let's not go there. I mean, they've done okay, right? They got 2 points, so like they got something going for them. And you know, the analysis was like, who should win? I'm like, if Mirage wins here, it becomes a closer league right now because Oxygen in 3rd place on 9 points, Mirage in 7th place only having 2 points. So a little bit biased there. However, I really want to see if Monty gets banned in this matchup because Monty is one of those like big skyscraper bans that people typically always target ban. Thermite goes out first. That's a bit of an odd one. Doesn't happen all that often. And would you look at that? It's his partner in crime of Thatcher. It's such a boring ban. Like, stop with this.
Oh my goodness, give it a rest. Some teams ban things that are strong but boring, and you just have to get used to it. Okay, get over it.
No. I think when you got secondary piece in the game, and you got nades and self-destruction,
Don't forget the secondary hard breach as well.
Secondary hard breach. You got so many things these days, right? It was a great thing for the game. And the thing is, if you ban the Kaid, you don't have to. Then it's like you don't have to worry about Thatcher at all. The only reason why Thatcher is so strong on Skyscraper specifically is if Kaid is left open. Thatcher and Kaid are both banned out, so it's nullified completely. They just won't be accessible. That's fair. So now the question is anybody gonna ban a trick? Are Techs gonna play the Maverick? Foxay so far currently hovering it, because the first step of any attack on Skyscraper is typically going to be to try and get through those hard walls from the exterior parts of the map, and that's very difficult as Bandit and Mute.
We don't get to see Fenrir again. Fenrir is banned in our very last map, and now banned twice in a row. R.I.P. I think seeing the newer operators be showcased.
Well, Fenrir is not the newest operator, so that you don't have to worry about that.
The newest operators, I said, plural.
He is in fact the second newest operator, so I can't get you on that one. That's unfortunate. And I agree.
It used to be plural, and Ram is the newest one, right?
10 seconds remaining.
Yes, Ram is the newest one.
And if I was to say plural, who would be not one of the other newest,
5 seconds
then the
left
operator that
before
came right
insertion.
before Ram?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why if Fenrir wasn't the second newest, I feel like I could have gotten you there with a technicality, but you're right, because he is the second newest. So
Thank you.
I'll
I
surrender
appreciate the
that
clarification.
one. You're right. I was almost right. I'm still not fully wrong, so that's cool. And we're gonna see something that good old Kino from the Exit roster, current Media roster, he loved to play back in his day, and still sometimes do. It's Yogg Dog on the Kali. Such a rare operator pick in pro play, but works very much like a Thatcher against mute jammers. Because those the Kali lenses, they can go on an exterior wall and destroy anything that is, next to the hub on the opposite side of it, essentially. There is the mute in the board for the side of Mirage, so that won't be an issue, but it also works greatly for self-destruction, shields, maestro cameras, keeper barriers, etc. So curious to see right there, for example, how well Yogg will utilize the gadget, but already there in the first middle round, he clears out one barrier, and Foxay starts opening up that wall. But would you look at that, an impact grenade from inside the building shuts down the first Selma. He's got 2 more to go.
Office defense for Mirage to start things off. And immediately, Newers is down below to possibly blow anybody up. You're very right. There's no denial whatsoever from Mirage. No mute jammers, Kaid is banned, no bandit batteries. There is, however, Frost on the board. In comes Fish, they see it. More Candelas to go, explosion goes off. OXG very quick to the pace. Spiker, the first one to die, coming at the hands of Foxay as Dream is in, getting the diffuser down, but look at that. Kansan searching for kills, only able to find one so far. He's the last man standing. This was Jesse's MVP of week number 1. Can he live up to the billing? He gets 2 kills for his trouble, but OXG's post plan is just too strong. First couple kills coming in for OXG. They take a breather as that diffuser goes down, and then they get the remainder to go up 1-0.
That's beautiful. I love watching rounds like that because it's such a simplified version of the game, right? You simply open up the exterior wall with the ace charge, you toss in a bunch of candelas, a bunch of smokes, you jump in, you shoot the frost mat, and the bomb just goes down. There's no real counterplay. Newers is downstairs, so no C4s can go out, and the Warden was unfortunate playing by the dragon statue. He was so far away from the bombs, and I think that's the only reason why OXG, they've said go, 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 because the one counter to their entire strategy was not close enough to the bomb site to actually be the hero that Mirage needed. And it's always tricky with new teams like Mirage because you change up your roles, your operators, you gotta figure out the map pool and the callouts, and when a chaotic round occurs like that one, it can be very hard to call around as a new team. And a very small mistake like Warden not being in the technical correct position in that moment simply means that that round is almost impossible to win. OXG, they've had, I would say, some trouble with their identity in the beginning of their
5 seconds left.
form as a team. Are they gonna play like the lurk? Are they gonna play the aggro? Are they gonna play structure? They're kind of been a bit of a mixer. And I would say since Mirage joined, they've started embracing the aggressive, quick pace, you know, young gunner of Mirage, throw him in, get the intro kills. But in more recent time for OXG, I really appreciate how much effort that someone like Foxy has been putting into this to say, we want to be able to play more operators. And, you know, Foxy as the IGL, or one of the IGLs at least, in-game leaders and the captain of the team, is in big charge of that. Yogg is actually a flex player these days, playing stuff like Grims, playing stuff like the Kali last round. And speaking of quick entries, this is that OXG in form. Within 30 seconds, they're in the first floor, droning out the right, Mirage checks the left, they clear the Geisha hatch, and already now, if they get intel above, Mirage can start using those frag grenades from below to do a bunch of damage.
Some of those Selma charges going off as Geisha wasn't really a major factor back in the very first round, but now finding itself being the focal point as this is another top floor bomb site, not the office side. It was open. Mirage could have gone there again as they want, but teams do like to juggle these bomb sites and not repeat. If things don't work out for you the first time, why bother going back there? And if you look at the way that Oxygen approached that first round, I can see why Mirage wants to maybe give a little bit of breathing room between themselves and the office. Fish the first altercation down below now, coming to verbal blows with Vertical, and now Slothy as well taking some damage in the process. Spiker, who wasn't even involved in this altercation, is the first to die. Mirage is being compelled back to the bomb site. Dream goes down for OXG, but not before one of those logic bombs go off. So yes, the secondary gadget, those EMPs might die with the Dokkaebi, but provided they haven't been used, of course, but gadgetry still doing its work. It's given OXG some information. More damning, though, for this team of Mirage is the loss of the smoke. That is a particularly big blow with a minute to go.
Yeah, I think some people might be like, why did Dream like push in towards near the bomb site? Well, it's simply because that they saw two roamers. They thought it was clear, but it wasn't. Mirage held on to it. No, actually now trying to pick up the pieces. They're very split across the map. They're relocating towards this Geisha breach where they try to use the Grim gadget to get intel and then use the nades below from Newers. But Mirage with a great read. They sacrifice Geisha early in that round and just push back towards the bomb site. And look at this. The roam from Rampy is still active and it punishes OXG immediately.
You might be able to retake Geisha as well. That part of the map relinquished by Mirage, but it's a former world champion. Rampy's got the good read. Long range engagement. Yaga goes down, likely to a frost mat. It's Fish in a 1v4 as Rampy takes down Foxy. That Geisha read again being so good. Fish is doomed in this position. Sees one in gold, doesn't get the kill at all. Mirage making quick work of OXG on that round.
I think typically the way the teams look at Skyscraper is any attacks you get, you'll just be happy with it. Getting like a 2-4 side favoring defense is not unheard of. And there is one tricky thing about attacking that Seeker bombs that we just witnessed. The Geisha room itself is like a pretty big trap. It looks pretty free, pretty clear, but as we see, you jump in the window, you jump in the breach, there's a long line of sight going all the way to Drum to that garden area Rampy was playing to shut down the jump in basically. And even if you get Geisha control, you're staring down like a triple crossfire from both bomb sites and the hallway as well as two staircases. So Geisha looks like a great place to start the round, but the issue is you can't really progress once you get it. So typically teams will try and clear Geisha and then go elsewhere on the map. And it looked like OXG did exactly that. The issue is they were shut down by the roam of Mirage, who did a great job at holding on to the majority of the map and didn't give OXG enough room, or at least as much room as they would like to have, to make the right play in that round. And it's 1-1 because of that. They go back to where things started with a Doc on the board, a Solis. So very different operators this time around, but all eyes on Kansan for Warden, because we know that Ying's on the board, there's Gridlock, and the great thing about Gridlock in this round in particular is that she gets to bring those secondary EMPs, because the first goal of Skyscraper, as we talked about, is always going to be dealing with those exterior walls that are reinforced from the inside to the outside, and that's going to be Dream and Yage taking care of that early on.
The very first round that you talked about, Kali was brought to deal with them, but weren't needed as There's nobody from Mirage there to do any denial. This time around, if you look at Mirage's lineup, well, they're in the same instance. They're not going to need to worry about bandit batteries or mute jammers. Mirage have been opening up a number of these walls, the common entry points, and forcing OXG to take engagements. 2 Candelas already used, as well as a smoke, as it's another office hold for Mirage. They're hoping for a better outcome than back in round number 1. Double panel inside of the A bomb site looking identical to what we saw before, which will allow impact tricking for the defenders and can make it quite successful. Our destruction from OXG has been used to just put a small hole in that geisha wall where Rampy plays. Roaming around, but he doesn't have a lot of intel.
Attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Drone work going out. Rampy sees the Yana of Newers, gets the pick, and immediately scampers off. No follow-up whatsoever from OXG.
OXG, look like they're going for a fake rush, you know, because they do the same thing as last time, but they go for the roam clear instead. And they hope that the roamers off Mirage would fall back towards the bomb site, but they actually stuck around. It is trade 1-for-1 as Fish finds Kansen. That's Warden off the board. That's massive for them. They have no Candelas. They somehow spent all 4, but they still have 1 smoke in the pocket of Fish on the Ying, and that could pay off later on in this round. Rampy with the Solar Gadget can shut down a plant, but also note he has no impact grenades in his pocket either. Now he's been joined out as well by Foxy, so they know his whereabouts. OXG with a minute to go. They have a lot of decisions to make here, and they don't have a lot of information to work with. 5 drones in pocket. Dream couldn't clear out the garden area. But again, Rampy is there to shut it down immediately.
Sloppy not too far off of Rampy, and there goes one of the smokes. Warden to Kansen is gone, so those smokes will have tons of value, as you pointed out. Or smoke, rather. That was the last one used from Fish. No obscurement that could possibly happen for OXG. They spy 1 body. Nice shot by Vertical on the Fish. He had another as well over by Dragon, but it's Yaga to get on the board with 2 picks. Sloppy and Rampy lining up perfectly. Vertical falling back as Spiker gets on the board. Yaga's no more. That was the one player from OXG who really seemed to have things in his grasp. Down goes Spiker. It's all Vertical in a 1v2 against his former teammates. Time running out, but Dream is on that diffuser. Foxy needs to cover. Vertical sees him. Sovitimo! Vertical pulls it off as they both drop. All he needs to do is secure the kill, and there you go. Your victory lap is at hand. Diffuser goes down, and Vertical gets both those picks. Mirage grab their 2nd round in a row.
Defenders have disabled the bomb diffuser.
That was his last bullet. I mean, the cover there was ridiculous. I mean, he's prone on the breach, couldn't get inside the building. He's trying to throw in flashbangs and try and pre-fire the wall. It was just complete chaos. Vert gets the pre-fire through the wall. Here's the prone sound with the very last bullet. He also kills the planter as well. Perfectly calculated or a lucky guess. Either way, Mirage, they steal the show and steal the round. OXG simply didn't have enough time to correctly set up that plant. The plant position was weak. The cover was weak. But again, if you only have 5 seconds to work with, you're not going to be in an optimal position. That's the punishment of losing members early to the room of Mirage. And so far, that's been the defense's biggest strength. The roam just keeps on working, either getting a lot of kills or killing a lot of drones and forcing OXG into a bad position late in the round. And look at this, Newers dies like that. He walks in a hallway and they just don't know Rampy is there. Remember, this is Fish from OXG going early onto the bomb site window, throwing Candelas and throwing in a singular smoke, trying to fake that same exact execute 1-to-1. That beautiful last bullet there. And then you'd think, okay, Mirage, they're gonna see the Candelas in the smoke, they're gonna rush straight back to the bomb site, the room is clear. Well, that's what OXG thought too, but it's not what happened at all. Maybe Rampy on the Solace actually had intel. He could see the drone outlines, you know, with the gadgetry. Perhaps, maybe that's why he stuck around. But either way, great decision making from Mirage.
Jesse cooked Laxing on the desk because Laxing said Mirage was going to be the team that ultimately come out ahead. And how foolish do you look now, Jesse? Very foolish. You see those glasses, that haircut?
Oh, don't. You should have seen. We're out for lunch the other day. He was wearing, we called him the Banana Man. He was all yellow. I don't know what happened there.
Excellent. Very poor attempt at opening up these walls in Geisha. By Foxy as those Selmas go, and I think only a single part of the Selmas actually went off. Each Selma has that 2-part sequence The first Selma, you got the first part to go off. The second Selma, it looks like both of them got shot away. No hard breach for OXG remaining, so things will be a little bit more challenging for them. That was a grenade that went off somewhere on the map to take down Slothy, who is bleeding out but can still be retrieved. And now Spiker will take some damage as he runs by the window opened up by Yaga. Slothy retrieved back up. Half of the round to go.
You really wish you had a dock at this point in time. Slothy's holding a crucial part of the map inside of Geisha. He's going to oversee the B as well as the A bomb site downstairs in Kitchen and Barbecue. Oishi not really making any pressure inside the map, but the exterior is doing great work. Yogg finds a nade onto Slothy again, but Rampy also finds Fish with a shotgun inside the map itself. And OXG, very precautious in these rounds.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been
Another
dropped.
pick for Mirage now as there goes Fox, eh? Gadgetry not working, and then in terms of kills not working either. Mirage losing Slothy, who's yet to find the scoreboard. The only player on the team who hasn't done so yet. Might not be the biggest blow for them, especially now since they hold these numbers. Dream could potentially capitalize on Rampy, who's on cams at the moment. Dream is so close inside a drum, but just missing out on where Rampy was positioned.
Surely he knows now. Rampy has a good game sense. He has the sound as well. Yep, he figures it.
No way!
The shotgun.
I think it's a pillow gun, but boy, oh boy, does it do a lot of damage. Now it's Yaga to try and avenge his teammate. He does so through the wall. Goodbye, Rampy. 2v2. 15 seconds to go. The pace of these rounds has been frantic right now. OXG, for more often than not, they've been holding on for dear life. No access to the diffuser, so kills will be the answer. Down goes Newers. Now it's Yaga to try to find Kansan, but the keep away game will go. Kansan decides to take the engagement instead. All right. It works out quite swimmingly. 3 in a row for Mirage as they are making quick work of OXG on this half.
They are. It comes down to the 1v1s, the 1v2s, and those clutch moments, but the common factor in all the rounds but the very beginning has been the clock. OXG are not achieving enough with the 3 minutes available to them in these rounds. Sure, they get grenade kills, they get a bit of map presence, but we just saw they didn't have the diffuser. Sure, they had full bomb site control, but they can't do anything with it. They're forced to sprint towards the final defender alive and get shut down in this middle of a sprint animation. And look at this, the disgusting snipe across that office area, the T area rather, but then Yogg with a nice wall bang to get back towards Rampy. And then here, 7 seconds they had left. 7 seconds! It's just simply not enough time. If you're XG, I think you gotta go back to what you did in round number 1. Go for a side rush. Get fancy with it. I mean, you have Monty open on the board available to you. Monty is what a lot of teams in professional play, they will use in this T and Kuriki attack. Because you can just walk up the back staircase, walk in the terrace door, and just start asserting some presence and pressure. And they have not used Monty as of yet. They have not used Osa or Blitz either, and Newers is not really finding much map control with the roam clear. So I think Oishi gotta change things up right now, try and get at least one more attack around, try and aim for that 4-2 side as they should expect. But either way, right now, it's looking a little bit grim. I'm not super comfortable in their attacking rounds, is what they're doing right now.
This is not a tack pause, by the way. These teams have not called a timeout. There's tech issues at the moment, but with one player from each team having some, I don't know, connectivity issues, I think you could say. Not sure why, but when we get information, we'll update you. It was Yaga and Slothy who had some problems with either connecting to the lobby or not sure. Either way, it looks like the problem is within moments of being resolved, and then we'll go into it. As you and I touched upon on the Brazilian broadcast, and something that I would actually have to ask regional leagues about was whether or not teams are allowed to speak during these tech timeouts. Because right now, I've been trying to notice all the faces of both the squads, and it doesn't look like either of them have said much at all. If that's the case, then this is just prolonged suffering for OXG. They're not able to talk their way out of this predicament.
No, I was doing the same thing as you for that same reason, where in Brazil they can talk during it, and most of the backcams here have been pretty silent, but I have seen Fox just twice had his lips do some, right there as well. He's doing some kind of talking, but it could also be around the take issue at hand. It might not be like game or strat related, of course, but But you're right, if you cannot talk to your teammates right now, it is silent suffering. And you gotta hope that the leaders of the team, like Fox84XG, can think to himself like, okay, this might be the problem, this could be a solution. Hey guys, you remember the shot that we got? Let's try and whip that out like we did in round number 1. Try and catch Mirage off guard, because right now, OXG, they're opting for these kind of default takes that are very methodical, they're very predictable. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if you can do it correctly, but it just simply hasn't worked out so far. The only round victory was a literal site rush, and it was clean and well done. And you'd think when you pull that off in the first round, you're gonna try and do it again at some point. That's just not been the case for OXG.
Got a rehost coming in. There were some tech issues that could not be resolved by simply a pause, so just a few more moments as everything gets set back up. While we were talking about this, by the way, the OXG team leaving Vegas, as many teams actually have. I don't think there's many teams still in Vegas. I think Dark Zero, and honestly, I couldn't tell you another team other than that. OXG relocating to Boston, as you can see on the back of some of those cams, it says Boston Breach. The ownership of Boston Breach, who also own OXG, is where this OXG team is playing. Boston Breach, of course, being the Call of Duty team that's owned by the same, I don't know, ownership conglomerate, family, whatever you'd like to call it. As for Mirage, looks like they are well spread out. I'm going to assume that Slothy is in or around Washington, given that he has that Washington TJ Oshie jersey framed behind him. I also noticed that Ashen had a Chicago Blackhawks merch hanging up. I'm just going to try to shoehorn in a Connor Bedard reference for Ashen's debut, but it just didn't ultimately end up coming to me. By the way, also just another side note, as we're killing time, waiting for everybody to get back into the lobby, I just received a message from Jesse Chick, who happens to be listening to this broadcast.
Oh no.
And he said, I am no fool. I am Banana Boy, and OXG's defenses will redeem me. A lot on the line here for Banana Boy.
Okay.
Imagine the humiliation of not just showing up looking like Paddington Bear, but also of simply being wrong about the thing for which you are supposed to be an expert in. How embarrassing that would be, wouldn't it, Jesse? We'll see if Banana Boy was right. Everybody's in the lobby, so we're just moments away from getting back into the action. For those of you that are just tuning in and have not seen, the scoreline was 3-1 in favor of Mirage, who have now won 3 rounds in a row on defense.
Yep. That's the big keyword there, defense, skyscraper. It's where you're supposed to pick up the majority of your rounds, but that's not to say that Mirage is gonna, fall apart in their attacks whatsoever. So things can, of course, still go the way when they swap sides. Curious to see which team is going to try and control the pace of these rounds, because for the majority of this game so far, it has been Mirage just on their roam game, extending out the map, completely locking out OXG. I want to see something change here, but not for Mirage. Keep doing the same thing because it's been working for them. It's OXG right now. It's up to them to take control back onto their side.
So far, the bomb site rotation for Mirage, they started on Office and ultimately lost it. That very impressive first attack by OXG. Second attempt at Office for Mirage came in round number 3. They ended up winning that clutch, if you recall, with Vertical picking off the very final 2 players.
10 seconds
Mirage
remaining.
had a perfect record on Barbecue and Kitchen and then Karaoke
5
and
seconds
Tea.
left before insertion.
As we see from the bomb site rotation on a lot of different regions, it is unlikely that the 4th bomb site on Skyscraper will show up. That's the bedroom bomb site that is directly underneath the office bomb site. It also happens to be the one part of the map that doesn't really see this geisha room as a critical vital that needs to be dealt with by the attackers. Given that this is a Karaoke and Tea defense, and given the fact that geisha basically borders one of the bomb sites, you're hard-pressed to find a better place to hold off site than that geisha part of the map. Doesn't look like Mirage are only going to invest in geisha, though, as they've extended over towards office as well. This entire top floor will be very important for Mirage to hang on to. They want to keep control of the bomb site itself.
Yeah, you see the dude so well. They're just holding on to so much off the map, and you see nades going up from below as well as from the window as well. They're not finding any success here. That's 3 grenades spent, 0 points of damage. They cleared 1 key barrier, 4 grenades now spent, and actually they're going back outside the building. They're gonna start droning again. They don't know how and where to get in. Vertical now in Solus was ready before, finding the drones, shutting them down, creating vertical space as well, but those impact grenades and now almost half the round is blown over. One Dokkaebi call went out, and they're still nowhere closer to walking up that first staircase. Mirage, they're gonna fight for this spot for a bit longer because falling back at 135, it's good, but they can do better. There's not enough pressure applied to them to have any reason to actually keep this up as of yet.
I was about to ask if Newers is being droned in, and there's one of those Flores drones going in to give him a better angle. Teams trade out. Rampy goes, so does Yaga. Slothy, the one credited with that kill. Newers, a pickup for OXG, puts OXG in a 4v3. This was the entry that he wanted. If you give Newers a bunch of tools to kill his opponents, and more importantly, the information to do that, he will make you pay time and time again. OXG are often at their best when Newers is supported by the rest of his team. Losing out on those logic bombs and losing out as Yaga as a potential droner is not ideal, but OXG have managed to get themselves out of that position. And more importantly, of all the operators that are up for Mirage, Soulless being one of the most important defenders to kill, that's great for OXG. Not just because they have that numbers advantage, but because of the utility that Mirage will not have at their disposal.
Yeah, big issue is just time. 2 Toxic Babes and Pogger Spike, and they got, this really strong hold on the bomb site itself. I think Mirage in a great position here, and it's still down to OXG to pick that apart. If they can kill Spiker, they might have this round, but they only got 25 seconds to do so. Mirage, they're not taking any risks. They picked up 3 comfy corners and just sticking by those corners.
Far more successful for OXG to get into Geisha as well, as there's only 15 seconds remaining. Goodness gracious. OXG really need to hasten this pace up, and there goes Newers making tons of noise. Kansan ready for it. Easy pick. Fish on the board as well. Kansan pivoting, getting 2, but Dream walks in the same angle that he was looking before. Spiker in a 1v2 post plant, but he takes the wrong target, and it's Dream to get the final kill and give OXG their second round.
Such a frustrating position to be in as Spiker, because you swing that doorway and you have to identify both targets, and he does so, but which one is the guy planting, which one is the guy shooting? And then there's another issue on top of it. It's 0 seconds left on the clock. Are you gonna shoot for the guy planting and get the injury or kill and therefore win the round, or kill the guy covering him and therefore get the free kill onto the planter afterwards? And you could very much tell when he swung that doorway, he was flicking left and flicking right because his crosshair was in between the 2 targets. He simply could not identify which one was the right one to shoot, and it is very difficult to do so. It's a split-second decision. These are professional players. They're quick, they have great aim and decision making, but there are some moments like that one where it's simply so hard to make the right call that it ends up costing you the round. I think Kansan played the spot greatly, getting 2 kills, but then he did not expect that third member to swing from Geisha, or second in a row, should I say. And then we saw it there, the cover from Dream was there. Foxy started planting at like 0.01 seconds left, I think. It was so close to the timer again for OXG, but they get that clutch round. So, and that's only fair. Mirage clutched 2 rounds, OXG they get to clutch 1. It's 2-3, still in favor of Mirage, and this is the final round in the first half.
Given that we're only a couple play days in, we're going to start to make reference to these maps as to whether they're attacker or defender favored. For you and I, it seems like almost every single game we've casted at this point has been defender favored, at least without diving through every single one of my notes. It certainly seems like good consistency that despite this TDM meta, the defenders are having more advantages than not. Jesse hinged his entire reputation on Oxygen's defenses. You best hope that they live up to that. Rampy was almost indomitable in this spot before in Geisha. As the Soulless, he gets information as to where the Selmas are coming, and then drones as well, 2 of which have been used hopelessly to try and take him away from this spot. A third now will go as well. Both walls leading from Karaoke towards that Geisha hallway, reinforced. Means that the only real way in is the big window inside of Geisha, or going through the wall, which again, only one of the parts of a Selma have been used. Allows Rampy relative impunity in this spot. He'll still focus along as he's not really receiving a lot of pressure. He knows one player's down by back stairs. A nice shot to swiftly remove the head of Newers. But Yaga has his teammates back through the wall, and a trade will be how the beginning starts of this round, even though the beginning comes 90 seconds in.
I was gonna say he wasted so much time. He kills a 1 grenade player on the team. He kills 6, or the team at least kills 6 drones out of 10, and half the clock is burned down. I think Mirage basically found out that OXG, they care so much for Geisha, they depend on it as a way to enter the map. So they just bunker up, cancel barricades, reinforcements. One member can play in that spot to sacrifice himself, so to speak. And I think this trade is so worth it. And look at that. You think Omai of Sloth is going to be stuck across the map, but no, Spiger's keeper barrier saves him as he tosses out on that window to allow him to cross, and then the duck is there from Verd to heal him right back up. Oxygen has spent 2 minutes, half the util, and 8 of their 10 drones, and all they've gotten is a singular kill and, well, the wrong part of the map, essentially, because this is so far off the bomb site. And look at this, they have no drones. They have to walk in and dry check every single corner. That's gonna take time. They're vulnerable to people hiding in corners, and there's only 30 seconds left. They have those smoke grenades. Once they pass this middle section of the map, it's gonna be guns blazing for the next 20 seconds.
Foxe is the only real entry in now, as he's got this hard breach for the wall. The rest of this OXG team trickling in. Down goes Yaga. He'd been finished off. Now it's Kansan's turn to die. Okay, OXG getting their licks in. Only 2 members remain, but Vertical was so good last time, and it looks like it might be starting all over. A flash goes in, misplayed by Slothy. You don't like to see that at all, and now Vertical will have to clutch from the same time as before. He does so as the timer hits 0. OXG proving to be their own worst enemy. Unable to get into the bomb site, unable to crack those walls open, utility being expended on Rampy, but as you pointed out so astutely, Rampy almost single-handedly winning the round from the position inside of Geisha he was in. By the time OXG were able to remove him, it was just too late to transition to the bomb site. First half in the books, Mirage up 4-2.
And I really like this because whenever Mirage, they start struggling in a match or they end up figuring out like the weakness of the enemy, they will always send Rampy to be like the guy. Against Dark Zero and Shell A, they put Rampy on entry after having some bad rounds, and things went really well for them. Then, on this particular game, well, who did they send into Geisha? It's Rampy. So I can imagine that when things they swap here in a second, it might be Rampy on the entry as well. He's doing so much work for his team, and you might be asking, well, why is it Rampy? Well, why not? He's the most experienced player on the roster. He's a literal world champion, winning invitationals. There is no better player on the Mirage Lamb to send to do the impossible, and he does such a good job at exactly that.
5 seconds to go.
Looking at OXG's side, I think that they're hoping that, the next operator will be somebody who adds 30 seconds to the clock when you play them, because they need those extra 30 seconds every single round but the first rush that we've seen so far. It has been their biggest issue, and they did not fix in the first half. Thankfully for them, they're now on defense. They get to set up the map, hold it as Mirage did, but they do it in their own way. They're not as committed to the roam right now, but my focus actually will be on Mirage. How are they as a new team going to be attacking on Skyscraper? Because it's very difficult, there's a lot of options, a lot of operators you can play in to try and play around that fact, and this will be their very first attacking round for them.
Quick to open up the wall, leading atop of stairs. That's one of those secondary can openers used by Kansan. Dream reunited with this Maestro. Fascinated to see how this one plays out. He used to be a staple on this map, but I think the general consensus among teams is Maestro's utility is not as strong as it could be, and certainly not as much as it used to be. So OXG running Dream on one of Dream's best operators, I would even say, is always a treat to witness. This extension over by Office right now. OXG, because that's not the bomb site, by the way, but it's set up very similarly to the way that Mirage was holding it when they were on defense. Means that you'll have to crack open one of those reinforcements and then deal with the soft breach. Kansan on the board first. Down goes Yaga. He was one of the players from OXG tasked with holding Office. Newers was over there as well, but I think he knows better than to keep on in that position. Mirage now has uncontested control of Office. Always had to be wary of a flank, but ultimately Mirage must be pretty happy with how quickly they were able to close out and clear out that part of the map.
Yeah, the thing really is that when there's an extended roam, like 3 people on the bomb side and 2 guys holding the opposite side of the map, like we saw here from OXG, when one of those 2 roamers fall, you pretty much have to say, okay, I lost my cover, now I have to fall back as well. When Yark died, we saw Newers go for 1 swing, nothing came out of it, immediately runs back to the side. Rather just cut your losses, play that 4 versus 5 near the side itself, than to stick around for too long against 5 attackers and go down to a 3 versus 5, because that's the most likely outcome to happen. But this right here, wherever it is, the line around Dragon and Drum, it is so hard to break. You see there's a very clear line where the defenders, they have control, and the attackers, they have control. And in the next 20 seconds or so, we have to see Mirage cross that line and get that entry, and this right here is their attempt at that.
Yeah, these are very, very slow rounds in terms of action. Nice shot by Slothy to take down Dream. It was a team effort to remove one of the players from OXG, so I guess we won't see the full power of those Maestro cameras in action. Newers as the cross, though, takes out Slothy before Spiker trades him right back. Fox 8 patrolling backstairs will need to be compelled into action in order to stop this Mirage plant, which is at the halfway point. Fox 8's position is given away. He and Fish now down below. Fish finished off as the diffuser is successful and the clock will continue to run. The attack for OXG showing some weakness. Very first defense doing the exact same. Even if Fox 8 is able to take out Kansan, there's still so much more work to be done, and he has to emerge from a very, very vulnerable spot on the map. 2 players from Mirage watching it. Vertical the one to get the very final kill. Mirage, 5 rounds so far through 7. Last one seemingly starting to run away from OXG.
Yeah, and you see Rampy so hyped up in the player cams, making so many calls and excitement, you know, passion essentially when they win those rounds. I think OXG, they have been overpraised by a certain Banana Man because they had some glaring issues on their first defense. The roam, not enough was invested into it. It was rather weak, right? Whatever. They lose that opening kill, they play a 4v5 on the bomb side, but there's another glaring issue. They have Valkyrie on the board, they have Val camps across the map, and they had no intel that Mirage, they pushed Geisha, that they pushed top of red stairs, they pushed the hallway, and then all of a sudden when like 2 or 3 members of OXG died, we saw red pings come out. So that just shows us that there was in fact cameras watching over those areas where they died from, but nobody was watching them or relaying that information accurately enough for OXG to act upon it. They had Solus downstairs. That was Fish, and he impacted the floor, didn't see the person planting, went onto the scanner, and then died. So 2 very small mistakes there, both on the intel side of things from OXG, led to their demise essentially, because they have this strat that they can play below, and Mirage had no downstairs presence, but they didn't use it correctly. And there's no point playing Valkyrie if you're not going to check your camos. You have a Maestro as well. So there's maybe too many cameras, one could say, from the side of OXG in that round. Either way, not a great start for OXG, but a great one for Mirage, and we will see a bandit being brought out by Foxy. Of course, with Thatcher being banned, as well as the Kaid, if you want to trick any of the walls, you only got 1 guy left. That is going to be your bandit guy. If he goes undroned, this could be kind of troublesome for Mirage. He can hide in the corner, wait for the round to start, and either trick this single panel we see that he's reinforcing right now and just hide by this area, or he can go to the bomb side breach with that double wall. By pre-placing this bandit battery, he will just literally give away that there's a bandit on the board, but it's still gonna waste utility from Mirage. They either have to pick up secondary MPs, which Rampy has on Dokkaebi, or use some of their grenades from downstairs from Vert. So now you're basically trading, you know, util for util. But that means that, you know, Mirage has to spend stuff very early in the round, and they won't have that utility later on to use. So if you're really smart and you have the intel, using 2 EMPs to breach all the walls is a great trade. But if Bandit is lingering around and you drone him out, you might need to use a grenade to stop him from doing so. We know, as well as Mirage now, there's no tricking, so 1 EMP will do the job. Oh, no, actually, fuck, say no. He gets the C4 and he runs. So he goes down, throws the C4, goes back to the wall, tricks the wall. That is basically a round victory right there. Now there's no nades. There's only 1 EMP left from Rampy. They actually cannot breach any of the walls they would like to correctly now. Like, they can breach the Geisha wall, but who cares? It's so far off the map. OXG, they have such a strong bomb site now. They can essentially bunker up in this position, and Mirage have to do some crazy entry fragging and problem solving to have any chance back in this round.
Just as we thought all hope was lost for, was it OXG last time when they were completely out of options in round number 6, and it played out the way we thought it would. Now we're going to test your hypothesis for this round. Small actions. Bandit tricking, getting an early pick on a very integral operator, misusing a nade or misusing an EMP. Honestly, a small thing like that snowballs so quickly out of control. Obviously, we tend to be more negative and point fingers, but in this case, praise being given to OXG for their utility game and the way that they were able to push Mirage off of what was their obvious attempt to get into this building. Now Mirage will have to go back to the drawing board. Their advance will come over through Dragon and Drum. They'll be slowed down for a bit. Those Razor Blooms thrown out by Yaga, giving information to the rest of the defenders, but in this particular instance, not just information, but also shaking off that Mirage push that was looking like it could have some teeth over by Dragon.
You see them, they're so bunkered up. They're just in 2 rooms right here. That's all they need.
They're ready for it, and Foxay playing by the bar takes one down. OXG absolutely collapsing on these Mirage players. Spiker in a 1v5. Everybody on OXG, not just at full HP, but Dream and Foxay actually overhealed. There's more HP on OXG right now than when they started the round. Mirage, though, no closer whatsoever to a round victory. OXG had burned their timeout in the previous round. Whether we're just looking at another defender-sided Skyscraper or not, they seem very comfortable with this position, and now the clock will run on Spiker, denying a flawless round, which is only really for the stats nerds. But either way, OXG, easy to get that last kill. If it wasn't the Razor Bloom, then it was going to be one of them. Ended up coming at the hands of a gun. OXG's very first victory on defense, closing that gap.
I think you might look at that round and go like, why did Mirage just run their heads through a doorway out of nowhere? And the thing is, you have no other option. You genuinely cannot open up the walls, and there's not a lot of time left. So there's about 56 seconds left or so, and then all out of nowhere, they just rushed on in, right? Mirage tried to go for an off-pace play. By pushing so early in the round before like getting intel and setting up, it might actually catch prize, and it almost did, but the issue simply was OXG had really bunkered up. There was 3 people towards Dragon side and 2 people towards Garden. There was just simply no way in. And it's like, Siege is a game where the devil really is in the details. One simple bandit trick in a Kite Thatcher ban game
5 seconds
will
left
just
before
completely
insertion.
sway the sides. And the opening kill Foxay got was onto Vert, who had the
Attacker's objective
grenades.
is to
If
defuse
Vert
the
was
bomb.
alive with grenades, you can just, use both your nades. It sucks, right? It sucks. But you get the wall open, you accomplish your goal. But because Vert died and Rampy used one of his 2 MPs, you can't get both of that. You can maybe get one single wall opened up if you're lucky, but Foxay can still trick. So Foxay is gonna stick with Bandit again, and I think that makes sense given the last round success, Better safe than sorry. He might get another cheese round. It's possible. Mirage, you don't really bring any backups here. Still just 1 set of grenades, 1 set of secondary MPs, but they have more self-destruction now in the buck from Kansan, and of course the secondary heartbeat of the can opener. But the issue will always be on Skyscraper getting in the building to start things off. With the Nash charge, with the can opener to start things off, but a 50 seconds, almost a full minute, hasn't burned off the clock, and Rampy dies to fish. It's not a great start for Mirage here. It's just too hard to get in the building for both of these 2 teams so far, which heavily favors defense.
Good first picks from OXG, and really integral, honestly, to getting this very first round. Just looking at the 9 rounds that have transpired, the team that gets the first pick has an overwhelming advantage here. It isn't a clean line where you get the first pick, you go on to win the round. Hasn't been as neat as we probably have seen in previous matchups. But in this case, if you can take somebody down, especially somebody with very valuable utility, as Rampy had at his disposal, the only set of pocket EMPs, like you said, those logic bombs gone, and additionally, somebody who in this lobby can honestly just take over the game, as we've seen Rampy do time and time again. OXG must be very happy with that. And it's likely changed how Mirage is going to go about this bomb site yet again. Already seeing Mirage pressing in quicker than in the previous 2 rounds. Are they able to make some noise? Can they get a belated trade and maybe get these numbers down? Or is the repeat of the previous round going to happen where they effectively just walk in and die 1 by 1 by 1?
He sees it, but he can't do anything about it. They got the intel. Now Vert can wait. He might get rewarded with patience. This grenade, however, it could do damage on it. Don't get the kill unless he runs on top of the grenade. He runs past it, back to the bomb site, but this is where things get dire. It's a dog. He's back to full HP. Mirage and no closer to win this round in terms of kills, but they're a bit closer to those bombs at walls.
Again, these rounds just flying by, slow in terms of action, but quick in terms of pacing, because we're already at the final 30 seconds. Mirage have been sitting on an opportunity to go to match point, but haven't been able to capitalize as much as they want, and especially with Yaga taking down another player from Mirage, it's going to be tough. There goes Fox-A, but refrag from OXG. They continue to hold this advantage, and then the numbers go from good to great. Dream, the final pick. OXG within 1 round of tying Mirage on Skyscraper. Timeout paying dividends.
Oh, absolutely. I think it might be time for Mirage to try and change things up. I think you gotta allow yourself to be flexible here. Yeah, they're playing the Dokkaebi, now they play the Bok and stuff, but I think they gotta start bringing out those like actual flex operators, right? We're talking the Ying, the Glass, the Munty, the Osa, things that are a bit out of the norm. Not necessarily, out of the norm for Skyscraper, because we would expect teams to play Osa, to play Munty, and Mirage will indeed call their tactical timeout to perhaps discuss these kinds of things. They're still in the lead by a single round, but they don't want to lose that. And we can tell very evidently, getting inside the building is an issue, as it was for RG. The time is also an issue. That is the nature of Skyscraper. It takes a very efficient team at attacking to make quick pace on this map due to the nature of how it's shaped and how it's built up, and just simply how hard it is to gain that initial foothold. It's not like Cafe where the second you drop that roof hatch, you're in the map and you're good to go, like you're actually somewhere. No. Getting inside any door or any window on the actual floor of the bomb site is just incredibly difficult. I would love to see a Munty to simplify things, grant information, but it can't be Rambi playing it, right? Rambi has to be, or at the very least would hope to be, your entry guy. Go in there and get some kills. And he was shut down early in the previous round. He got nowhere. And Mirage desperately needs Rambi in some of these rounds.
I'd like to bring up the stats between these two teams right now. OXG entered the day lower than I think they wanted to be. They currently sit in 3rd, technically tied in 2nd with M80 in terms of points, but M80 right now the better round differential between the two teams. And OXG actually winning though head-to-head against M80, so I will be completely honest and say that with the way the amount of times that the system has changed, I'm not sure if round differential or head-to-head is ultimately what gives them the lead. As for Mirage, they've only got 2 points. There's a win in overtime. They're in the basement right now next to Space Station and Beast Coast. Desperately need to get some points on the board here, and it's going to be hard to do it when Fish jumps out the window and slaughters Slothy. Down goes your Ash. Mirage, 30 seconds into the round, down by 1.
I love that. Your enemy calls for a tactical timeout, they slow things down, they reset, they get to like talk it out, and a fishy boy jumps out a window and gets a spawn kill, and now that ruins the entire plan that you just spoke about. Most strategies in Siege requires 4 or 5 members to work correctly, and sure, they still got 4 people at full health, but we spoke about it. The opening kill really sways the favor because, again, you're already having a hard time in a 5 versus 5, and we see Mirage, they're all outside the building. They have no presence. Yeah, they open a Geisha wall, but they can't do much with that. And yeah, Rampi and Verta both repel droning. Can't do much with that either. You're gaining information, but you're not gaining map control with it. Foxy has 1 spare impact in his pocket, but he doesn't even need it. He's got a teammate. Yogg is there, can shoot off those pellets. So clearing out Geisha rather for Mirage seems basically impossible at this point.
Nade goes in by Rampi. You talked about how he needs to do better. I completely agree. Mirage's success is going to be tied to Vertical and Rampi showing up. Not that the team doesn't have a good supporting cast. They certainly do. But Kansan on this more support-oriented role, we've seen time and time again. He can make noise, but you need your entries on attack and roamers on defense to pull their own weight. Vertical had some big moments on defense, but so far Mirage on attack, as a team across the board, have not looked very confident. Stands to reason. You add new members to this team, you change things up, you get a new coach, you get a new system, and you go to a map of Skyscraper, which is not exactly a strong map for a lot of teams. There's going to be a bit of growing pains. Now, it looks like Mirage is suffering through them so far through all the games that we've seen. Kansan, by the way, he had the diffuser. He decides to go through delivery and gets smoked, immediately opening up the wall. Dream gets taken down by Vertical. Not all is bad. Vert also has a read on the smoke of Yaga, who's playing by the stairs. Bigger problem is you got to get that diffuser. Ramby is tasked with doing so, but it kills some time in the process. He might have an opportunity to get into kitchen unchallenged if that's where he wants to go, but instead just sprints in. How did they allow him to go like that, Nick? He just, nobody watching him? That's so puzzling by OXG. You've been doing so much better, but now it's Mirage in the driver's seat. Vertical finding all 3 kills, positioned the wrong way. 4 for him. Only one more eludes Vertical, again against his former team. Oh, down goes Foxay to Spiker. No opportunity for an ace, but I'm sure Mirage will still be happy about that one.
It's so close. They're basically planting and trying to body block it, you know, looking up. Spiker's looking up to the ceiling, and Foxy, he knew the plant was going down. He had intel on it, and a hole was already made in the floor, but the cover is good. And I have to be critical here of a specific player. I don't think Fish is the right guy to play solos right now. Not necessarily like in terms of the player himself, but his position in the map. He is never in the right position to utilize the Solis gadget. He's the person who's going for the flank. And you can maybe argue, okay, if he's flanking with Solis, he knows what the flank drones are, he can shut them down. Okay, sure, but if you have top floor control, like above the bomb set itself, you can see where the plant is, you can shut it down immediately, you can do a lot of damage. And this has been happening now where Fish is pretty much always on Solis and not really finding value on that specific operator. And again, it's not that Fish is a bad player, he might just be in the wrong position. He also went for the spawn peek, which, you know, any player can do, but if you're Solis and you die early in that round, your gadget goes with you. And that's a massive loss because it's got to be active to be useful. Vert had a massive round with great coverage. Then we see it here, Ramby plants, Spiker watch the ceiling, we see the outlines, and there we go, they shoot back and forth through that ceiling. Supportive Cash really woke up in that round, and Intrees doing a great job too. It was to start off with a risky play from Kansen, which got shut down immediately, leaving the diffuser exposed outside the map. But Mirage, they capitalize as a team, and they trade in favorable numbers, which got them that round in the end. And now we'll see if Mirage have learned from that previous mistake, because Fox is on Bandit, it's off his bomb site, and they cannot get Bandit tricked again. It will be completely doomed if they do. They do have Rampy now on the Ying. They finally get that flex pick. They can go for executes. But again, step number 1 is going to be the wall. Drone below. Get your Nate player vertical or Sloughy downstairs. Communicate with your heart breacher of Kansas. Go 3, 2, 1 or Spike or Ibana. 3, 2, 1. Breach the wall now. You're going to be safe. If Foxy plays this correctly, he will not die. If he plays it, you know, very well in the offense, so to speak, he might trick a single wall.
Keep his attention elsewhere, right? If you can get him to trick that single wall, you got to get the other one open. Slothy position down below with a nade will do some damage to Dream. I assume that the intentions are to get the bandit batteries instead. Is that a nade that was tossed over by main stairs? Doesn't get the bandit battery. Second one is good, and now Foxay will go into bandit tricking. And he manages to get them. Well, how many from Spiker was just used there? Now all those X-Kairos are gone. Yet again, something that you highlighted the first time it happened just a few rounds ago. One single bandit trick can be enough to win the round, and OXG might have just done that.
Yeah, basically Vertical missed the first nade. The second one hit the mark, but then there's no follow-up to stop the bandit trick. The first nade destroys the bandit battery. The second nade stops the bandit from tricking. When Foxy knew the first one missed, he knew he could safely trick because they don't have 6 grenades. That's not possible. They still have their hidden card right now. That's Rampy on the Ying. It hasn't really been showcased yet. He doesn't have smokes, however, just the 4 Cadellas, and there's no Warden from OXG. So Rampy could single-handedly carry his team through this round when they execute. But time is running low, it's 5v5, and OXG are mostly bunkered up around the bomb site with Fish below looking for a flank.
Nade goes off, but speaking of fish, it's more like Mirage has been going fishing. So they haven't been able to find anything with those nades. Time just continuing to go towards OXG's favor, and OXG gets on the kills first with Yaga and Foxay dropping 2 players from Mirage. Dream firing away, but it's Yaga credited with the kills. Mirage now trickle in. Spiker in a 1v5. This is a familiar situation. Denies the Nitro Cell from going off, but there's just too many targets in front of him. OXG winning a flawless round to stay in this game. One more, and we have overtime between these squads. But this will be the 3 most important minutes between these teams in this matchup.
Yeah, they really want those points for both of these two teams. And in that specific round, you know, I can go back and say Fish is playing Solids in a great position because for in that round, OXG they have bomb site control. They don't need Fish on Solids to go downstairs and deny the plant or be on site and deny the plant. He can go for that roam flank playstyle. So great job for Fish in that round, making up for the arguably slight misplay in the previous one. It's important to play your cards correctly, and he adapted well around it. OXG so good at just simply bunkering up and playing in very few areas of the map. They were in 3 rooms across the entire map in that round. That's it. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is that OXG are recognizing that the bomb site is a priority and the roam is not a big issue. The second issue is simply that Mirage, they're not really playing for map control. When OXG won the attack, they tried to go in through, if the bomb site was office, they would go Geisha and vice versa. Always go for the roam clear. Mirage in the previous 2 rounds, they go for this like really direct bomb site limited take style, and it's not very stressful to play against. You know where they are because they're not anywhere, so they can only be outside the building or right below you on the bomb site. And when you have Fish on Solus roaming around, he can tell you one guy joining over there, one guy joining over there, there's a drone behind you here, and you can pretty much pinpoint the majority of the pressure points from the opposing team. I like that Mirage went for Ying. We didn't get to see it to its full effect because they failed the first step of reaching all the walls that they wanted. And again, Foxy will say, hee, this bandit is working out so well, I'll bring it a 3rd time. It's not very often these days we see bandits successfully tricking walls because coordination is so good in pro play, but it's really worked out for Foxy in this match.
The rubber hits the road in the final 2 minutes of what could be make or break for OXG. Mirage want to get out of the basement. It's their last chance at picking up 3 points before going to OT and surrendering 1 of them to Oxygen, possibly 2. Mirage have either led or been tied this entire game, except for round number 1. You let OXG take the lead in round number 1, and then you've been in the driver's seat the whole time. That's momentum that you do not want to give up, even though, again, as we say it every time, there is no actual momentum mechanics in this game, solely in your head. Both teams having used their timeouts mean that this is it. You just have to fight. And it might be a slog. A scrappy matchup between these teams. You and I being blessed with these later games always being so close. Certainly and undeniably more entertaining than the 3 matches that went on earlier today casted by Lynx and Stokes. Maybe it's just luck of the draw. Mirage starting things off by removing Yaga from drum, removing his head from his body, and then the player from the server, as they're just going for broke, and now it's Slothy's turn to get on the board. Down goes Newers. OXG will feel the heat as a logic bomb goes off as well. Dream has an opportunity to flank through drum if he wants. He's got that connecting hallway, but his focus is over towards Dragon for the time being.
A bomb has been located.
Only thing I'm worried about for Mirage is ensuring that Fish gets spotted down below, because you might clear everybody out on the bomb site, but it's the anti-flank that you might struggle with. Oh, Rampy sees him, but misses out! That is not ideal, but at least you've got Fish's attention as he scampers off. Foxy all the while on the bomb site, removing cans, and down goes Dream. Foxy looking for the drop. Both players from OXG underneath the bomb site of Karaoke and T. But guess what? Fish has intel. He can use it. Plant going off. Fish up the stairs.
15 seconds
2
left.
different players looking in that direction. Slothy with 3 big kills. Foxy to save his team, but it's vertical. Revenge. Served cold. Great job by Vertical. Good job by Mirage. Looked like overtime was required, but no. In the very final round, it's Mirage to come out ahead. 7-5, picking up all 3 points and toppling OXG. Deska's going to want to talk about this one, so let's let them do it after this break.
Yeah, I got no idea.
Oh, brother.
I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind.
Shoot, this is a weird one.
Okay, what is this?
There could be so many possibilities.
I'm gonna go with Villa Kitchen.
Villa Kitchen?
Is this next to Vault Door on Villa?
I'm gonna guess that that's a Villa.
Maybe cafe? Probably Oregon though.
Oh, I know what this is. It's Oregon.
Maybe like Oregon?
God.
I'll be ready for this next one.
There's lots of maps with offices.
This could definitely be like 2 of 3 maps.
Consulate, admin, a lot of files in that room.
This would be Canal.
I'm gonna say top small tower, Oregon.
Logistics on Clubhouse.
I'm gonna go with consulate in the admin room.
I don't know where, but I'm just gonna say bank.
Bank.
No!
There's no way I'm guessing that right.
I've literally never seen that, so
I know there's a chunk of statue on Villa Art.
I don't know any of the casual maps, so probably Oregon kids.
I think pool. I think it would be pool and Untitled.
maybe like Stadium Bravo.
I have no clue, to be honest.
I'm gonna go Oregon junkyard.
The only place I've seen chibis is when I do T-Hunt on House in the kids' room.
Would be House, the playroom.
Oh my God, man.
I am not good at this.
I've seen this before.
It's like a washing machine. That wall looks like it'd be consulate or bank.
It's gotta be like consulate upstairs and like admin.
I'm just going Clubhouse. I have no idea.
I'll go Oregon laundry room.
The brick is making me think it's like consulate.
Is that in the spawn of bank by alley?
I think it's chalet basement, like beside the car garage.
That's chalet and like the trench hallway area.
First one on the board.
Wow, not even close.
I've been playing this game for like 6 years. I feel like I should know these.
I would not assume Clubhouse because it's like a biker gang. What, there'd be never gonna be a teddy bear there?
It's on a leather back chair. That's okay. That's a good thing to think about.
I had to guess. That's just Oregon kids. Cafe and like the VIP.
It looks like a leather booth, so I kind of want to say like cafe.
Leatherback chair. Leatherback chairs. Leatherback. Where are leatherback chairs?
I would assume it would be cafe. It looks like it'd be from cafe.
Wait, that's a bench it's on. This is cafe, like tables.
My first initial thought is like this is somewhere on cafe.
Dining room cafe.
Yeah!
I had no idea.
At least I got one.
We always shout at the enemy team or like try and make people feel awkward or like uncomfortable and all that. Like it's pretty evil when you think about it.
If the crowd is in our side, like we have like more advantage to win the game, you know. It's more energy for us.
You can feel the crowd. There's rumbling below, like an earthquake.
It's about not staying on that track that got us the win, but it's about creating a new one.
Right now we are the best, so it's about, become 1% better every day.
Don't we rightfully have an ego? You're coming into the most achieved team that this game has ever seen. Now you are that roster, you're the people that they entrusted to take that even further. Yeah, you should have an ego.
It feels good to be classed as the best team in the world, but at the same time it adds a lot of pressure on your shoulders because you don't want to be the best team in the world only for like a couple of months, You want to be the best team in the world, period.
We know our potential, we know what we are capable of. We have no doubts that we can win again. We just have to prove to everyone else.
I mean, my biggest moment was to win 6 Invitational.
And how did that feel?
Actually, I felt nothing.
I am confident. I am really confident in our ability because I know how good we can play. We just won the World Championship. I know we can do it.
You have to sacrifice everything if you want to be the best.
Not only do the teams look up to us, but they look at us and they want to beat us.
And of course, I think G is the best team in the world. We just won the World Championship. Why wouldn't we be?
They know that we have 5 insanely talented players, and I don't think many other teams can say that for themselves, that all 5 players on their team are, insanely good.
If we show up, nobody will beat us. Nobody.
I'm always confident that we can win it all, otherwise I would not be here.
Everyone's going to be looking towards us and studying how we play the game.
When other teams look at us like that, we look back at them and we're like, yes, we'll be there to defend it.
All the other teams that are at this event have copied our play style. They're just so clueless, and that makes me laugh.
I'm very confident. I think the team right now is very confident.
There's a reason for that, and it's not just, us being crazy egomaniacs.
I think people should fear us, definitely.
It's the biggest team, it's the biggest org, it's the best team, you have the best players. And now it's up to us to defend that and see what we can do about it to prove everyone that we're right.
And for some reason, Oxygen just can't seem to catch a break. If they play a doubleheader, they got to win one game and lose the other. And in this case, Mirage is the beneficiary of their first 3-point game here in Stage 2 of the NAL. And to walk us through a little bit about how it happened, we got to talk to one of their new pickups for this stage. It's time for Spiker's first interview here on the North American League. Dude, first off, congrats. Hello. Welcome to the big leagues. It's good to see you after following you in the scene for so long. Walk me through what it's been playing like so far for Mirage over these past couple of weeks. What's the experience been like?
I mean, it's been great, you know. We picked up Meepy like a month ago, and you know he's helped us tremendously to become the team we are now compared to the team we were when we had Yardy. You know, shout out Yardy, great coach, great guy, love him. And I mean, just every day, just getting better, trying new stuff, trying to improve who we are as players and improve who we are as a team.
Spiker, I want to ask you about the one round where you're attacking onto Barbecue Kitchen. You're in a man disadvantage. Your team forces the plant down. Vertical finds a 4K. What was the call like? What were the comms like during that round? What happened?
Yeah, so we got stalled a lot mid-round on that. You know, we couldn't do what we wanted to do, so we basically just tried to find an opening wherever we could and just try to fire away onto the site. I mean, Vert got a huge 4K, and then you know, I was able to get some payback for the DZ game when Vert was trying to kill the planner from above, so I got to get some payback, and, you know, nothing better than that.
For sure, and congratulations, Spike. I'm glad to see you. Glad to see you pulling out a dub here. Now, my question to you is, you're the main IGL of the team, and IGLing this team and the background of some of these players, what is that like for you? Do you feel like you have a lot more pressure coming off of Parabellum onto now Mirage?
I wouldn't say so. You know, we only won one game. You know, you knew that. I mean, Vert and Kansan and Rampy have been nothing but helpful. You know, I think Rampy should not have been the one that got cut from SSG. There was just no reason for that. You know, he's an incredible player. People say that he has attitude issues. He just doesn't. I just don't see it. You know, they've been nothing but helpful to me, nothing but helpful to Slothy, and just helping me improve, you know, as an IGL and as calling. That last round, I mean, I haven't played much Skyscrapers, so I wasn't able to call a ton of the attacks, but that last round, Kansan literally called the whole attack, just said, let's buck through this wall, let's trade this guy Geisha, let's trade out and plant.
That's perfect. Well, I'm glad to hear, and again, congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's working out for you, but because we haven't been able to give you the opportunity to say anything to the audience, you know, first time doing an interview, this is very, very much a rite of passage for a lot of guys when they finally like get a couple wins and things seem to be going right. So anything that you want to say specifically to your supporters or to your haters, because I'm sure that there are a couple of them out there that didn't think that you deserved this spot.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of people who are pulling up the CGG, looking at my stats. You know, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna be able to play today. I was worried yesterday that I had appendicitis, and I woke up today and I felt way better. So thankfully I was able to play.
Whoa. Very good to hear that you're solid.
Like, I don't even know, bro. Like one round, I killed the guy Terrace, and then Foxy's proning through the office holes. Like I just can't read that. Like I'm sorry, I just can't read that.
Something about pro intuition from a guy who's been playing it for 6 years. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. In this case, you guys are the better team. Congratulations again. I know for a fact we're going to see you at some other point down the road. Congrats on the win. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Full 3 points for MRG. Great way for them to end off at least this part of the day. They're going to have more doubleheaders to go through as this week continues. We're in midst of Super Week right now, but for Spiker to get a dub like that, that's got to feel really good.
Certainly, I'm sure they can be very happy about that one. I'm sure Laxing's very happy about that one too. Listen, it was a close game. Oxygen, I really thought they just started way too weak. Their attacks, they were completely out of drones. Every single time they were trying to go on these offensive rounds, they have 10 seconds left on the clock, and I think that's okay, but it's not okay when you have absolutely no idea where anyone is. Oxygen really had no chance in the later part of so many of these attacks because they didn't have intel and they didn't have time.
I mean, to touch up on what you were saying and what Pangy was saying about the utility, I thought both sides were actually not really using utility in their favor, where I felt, you know, they could have been using nades here or there. They were kind of just throwing them and throwing flashbangs and throwing drones. So I'd say the util game on both ends really wasn't that great overall.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. I think we started to see some really good moves coming through from the veterans on Mirage as well. I was really impressed with the way Rampy started this game. He was the one playing Solus on a lot of these rounds, and he was beating Newers. If you go back and track the head-to-head, almost every single round, Newers is trying to enter into the building for Oxygen, and Rampy takes him down. It must have been at least 4, probably 5 times where he just could not catch a break.
Well, and let's not talk about Vert. I mean, Vert made a lot of clutch plays and a lot of big rounds that also builds that momentum for the rest of the game. So I've had a feeling like if Vert didn't get some of those rounds or just get that momentum going, we might have saw a different, you know, pull in the direction of Oxygen.
For sure.
Overall, pretty interesting game dynamic, but I mean, the game is one thing. The two of you have been shooting daggers at one another behind the scenes for this entire game. You both had differing opinions on who was going to win. One person got it right. One person got it wrong. Lax, the floor is yours to talk crap if you want.
I mean, it's 3-1, baby. I'm brand new to this desk, so
it's a long
for the newer
stage.
guy to be, you know, beating the older guy in a sense of in terms of the stage length, I'm off to a great start. You were confident up there. When I said Mirage, you were like, you gave me this baffled look, like you were dumbfounded that I chose that. But I knew the map, I had the experience, and it just goes to show, experience doesn't know what
Are you actually like keeping track of literally every game and whether your prediction is correct?
100%.
I feel like we're not like doing a good job of keeping an actual tally of what's happening here.
I have it back at the hotel. I have just a little chalk on the wall.
Lax, listen.
Lax,
jeez.
You flip a coin every now and again, all right? A 3-1 difference gets made up very easy when you expand the sample size.
We ain't flipping no coins.
Once the sample size gets a little bigger, we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm looking at the sample size. It's 3-1.
All I can say is from experience, it's actually pretty easy to beat Jesse in predictions. You actually owe me a cake from like 3 years ago at this point because you made a bet that still hasn't been redeemed.
I don't remember that.
There's also a t-shirt with, I mean, if you know the lore of the t-shirt, you understand. At least for right now, we're done with 5 games. We're on to game 6. DZ is up next. And speaking of said thing, we did a couple of speed runs with the players on various teams attempting to see how fast they could speed run the very first situation on Hereford base. And Gav was the one representing DZ. Here's how he did.